Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is episode 131 of Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. I'm laughing because our producer has the giggles, and he won't tell us why he's laughing. Anyway, so today we're talking about our top 6 favorite episodes. We are 4 years into our podcast. Can't believe it, but it's true. And we were chatting the other day about our personal favorite episodes and figured that we should share them with all of you in case you haven't listened to all 131 yet.
131. It's unbelievable. We started January of 2018.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. This episode is sponsored by our go-to acrylic framers, Wexel Art. The beauty of the Wexel Art frames concept lies in the floating acrylic panel that makes art easy to install with magnets or metal stands out. So Wexel allows you to frame your art or memorabilia using single or double paneled acrylic for a look that is just as pretty, if not more so, than acrylic framing. We reached out to Wexel to create a custom frame for a 4-foot by 6-foot Apple Think Different poster that is a collector's item. Especially great for kids' art that you can take, in and out. We rely on Wexel for a lot of projects. Check them out at wexelart.com, WEXEL art.com.
Excellent. We love them. And I think you said it's prettier than acrylic framing, but it's prettier sometimes than custom framing. Mm-hmm. My fault. I wrote it wrong on the outline, but it's okay. All right, we're diving in. We're a little giddy today, so it's been a really crazy week, and I was at a baseball game late last night. I don't do anything on the weeknights because I go to bed so early, so I'm like a little delirious. Anyway, so let's talk about our favorite episodes. First up, episode 78. Photography tips and tricks with our buddy Linda Holt. If you haven't listened, you got to go back.
If you haven't listened, she gives such great information. She was a professional photographer, like 25 years in Boston. And then she decided things were heavy, and she just kind of got to a point where she just wanted to switch. And she had always had a passion for interior design. So she went on to become an interior designer, which she still is. But then she was able to create classes. I mean, she kind of fell into it. Mm-hmm. She takes great iPhone photos. Mm-hmm. And so as designers, we can't afford to have professional photography for everything, or just through Instagram and other things that you want to have pretty photos. She teaches such great stuff. So no matter what business you're in, you really need to listen to this because it helps you just take great iPhone photos.
You know what the simplest trick that she taught us that I still do only because of her is clean the lens on my phone. You don't realize how nasty your camera lens is on your phone because it's been in your pocket, it's been in your handbag, it's been, wherever. Yeah. And it's amazing.
I remember her saying that she was speaking at a conference and she asked everybody how often, how many of you clean like your lens, and not one person raised their hand.
Yeah.
You just don't think about it.
Yep. But she teaches some editing tricks and great stuff that you can do.
Yeah. Retouch is something where, like, let's just say and a lot of times we'll take photos. Yeah. These apps that are called Snapseed and then Retouch. But this one app is so cool. So a lot of times if you're in a showroom or at a show house, there's always people, but you're trying to get something. So there's a way that you can just remove the person out. It's really pretty cool.
Yeah. So another one that we loved is episode 85. And the title was Business Advice with our guest, Luann Nigara. And she always has amazing advice. I think she just put on Facebook that she has like 1 million downloads now of her podcast. And she's just an amazing lady. But one conversation that we had with her at a conference one night, and then we talked about it on the show, was, what is your why? And that's a really loaded question. And it's funny, I was just talking about this last weekend with some friends because we were talking about how my friend's house is really, really, really full of furniture and tchotchkes and all this stuff that he's just collected over time, and it's getting to a point where it's a little suffocating for him. And I said, well, what's your why? Why are you hanging on to all that stuff? Does it mean something to you? Is it beautiful? What's the quote you always say? Is it beautiful?
Yeah, it's William Morris. If it's not beautiful or serving a purpose.
What was the third thing? I couldn't remember when I was talking to him.
If it's not beautiful, oh God.
Yeah, it'll pop in later.
William Morris.
So anyway, we were talking about what's your why, and I think if you think about that in so many aspects of life, it'll keep you thinking.
Yeah, like I want to go from 5,000 Instagram followers to 10,000.
Right.
All right, that's great. Why?
Exactly. What's it getting you?
Yeah, and then it really makes you think of, wait a minute, how am I going to get to that? What's my investment? But what do I want at the end of it?
Right.
And then it really makes you think. Okay.
The other thing that we spent a lot of time chatting with her about is charging what you're worth, which I think, my husband asked me the other day, he said, you talk about supply and demand issues all the time and all this stuff that's happening in your industry and how everybody's so booked and busy and contractors can't take jobs for, at least a year and you guys are so busy. Have you raised your rates? And I was like, no, I've been too busy to even think about it. But yeah, charging what you're worth. You really got to sit down and think about it.
Yeah, and don't negotiate your fees.
Never. Never.
We've had people that try to do that, and that's just not
It's the beginning of the end.
This is really a good episode. Listen to it. It's just great business advice, no matter what.
We also talked about in that show working on your business. We all work in our business, but how often do you step out and take some time and breathing space to work on your business?
Yeah, because then you're like on a hamster wheel and you're just getting the things done. You need to, and Kelly and I are pretty good about this.
Yep.
We have a Panera Day and we go to Panera Bread and we bring our computers, we drink lots of tea and sometimes have
sit there all
breakfast
day.
and lunch.
Yep, many times.
And just don't get caught up in the day-to-day, but just start thinking about what we want to do in the future, start looking at, just analyzing things, and it's really good. It kind of rejuvenates you too.
Yes, exactly. So,
all right, I found the William Morris
okay, good. What was the third thing?
There isn't. It just says have nothing in your house that you do not know to be useful or believe to be beautiful. So
Okay.
basically, like look around, look at your kitchen counters. Okay, so if you have a coffee pot on there, all right, that's useful.
Right.
But if you have a little tchotchke that's just been sitting there, that's old and it's not really beautiful to look at, get rid of it.
Okay, so hopefully my friend Mark is listening.
Okay, so next up, episode 1, who we are and why we are podcasting. So there's a lot of good information in this one. A lot of people ask how we got started, how we met each other. All that info is in there. And then the karma and why it even started. But this is really funny because I remember it was episode 1. We had created the outline.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly and I,
I know what you're going to say.
really nervous, but we were, So we just sit down and we just start out. We did not have one. Now we have more.
We did, when we first started, we did the run through ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
We did the whole thing together.
Yeah.
Not recording, and then we would do it live.
Yeah. And then
that lasted one time.
Yeah, and then now we just zoom in. But I remember that that very first one when we were done, Russ, our wonderful producer, who just said, "Wow, like one time, like one shot wonders."
Yeah.
And so we just have been.
I love that we have stayed true to our goals for the podcast with our discussions about residential and commercial projects, our design events, our travel, our trends, product recommendations, like everything in Russ's intro. We're still doing that. We have now more guests than we probably ever thought we would. We originally, when we started, we didn't think we were going to have a lot of guests, but one time one of us was on vacation and we had a guest and it was awesome. So we're
really kind of picky about our guests.
Oh yeah,
like
sure.
We do get approached by a lot of PR people to have other designers on the podcast, and not that we don't want to have them. It's just like, it's
What's
not
the point?
We're
That's
not
what we
promoting. Yeah, that's what we are. But if we do have interior designers on, it's either that there's either a great story about either a product launch, or Linda Holt is a designer, but look how she's kind of focusing on photography. If we find something very interesting, I have literally read about people in a magazine and reached out to them because I thought there was something cool about them. So we're very picky about the guests we have, and we are, we just want to make sure that when you're listening, it's not just a lot of fluff. Like, we want to be able to give give good advice. So
Exactly. So it's a really good show because we do get asked so much about why we're podcasting and how it started. And we also get a lot of questions about our partnership.
yeah.
So we talk a little bit about that in that one too.
Yeah.
All right. One of my all-time favorites is episode 33, Why Buy Original Art? And we got a lot of feedback on this one. And a lot of artists listen to us when they paint. We found out after this episode, and we're very honored by that. But what we talk about in that episode is, first off, that people, I think there's people are intimidated
there's an
by
intimidation
art
factor
out there.
for
They
sure.
think it's a very expensive, and oh my gosh, walking into an art gallery is just so scary, and I'm not, I don't know enough. I'm not, my home doesn't.
And you know what? It's true. I mean, if you go into like a little small town and you're walking around, you see an art gallery, it just seems so almost like stuffy, and there's only certain, like, it's not like if you're going in there, you're going in there for one reason and one reason only. But you shouldn't feel bad to walk in there. Maybe you have no intention of buying anything, but you can learn, and you just don't ever really know. We've talked about Donna Kruger from DK Gallery, who just makes it so fun and interesting, and she knows the stories behind the artists and all that. So I think there's more to it than just that it's an expensive piece. There's so many emerging artists that have reasonable art now on Instagram. I mean, oh my God, you can find so many artists on Instagram.
I've never walked into a gallery and talked to the owner or the manager, and they haven't been amazing. I mean, even if you don't buy anything, they want to. Well, their passion is so great. They want to talk about the art and the artists. So I love that. But the other thing that we talk about is start your appreciation for original art small if you need to. I have a whole entire gallery in my hallway that's literally floor to ceiling now of what I call littles, and they're all, I think 12 by 12 is the biggest one I have, but I've got some that are like 2 by 4. I mean, they're so little, but they're all original, and it's quite a beautiful collection. And I can tell you the story of every piece and where I bought it, and I love it. And later on in life, I bought some bigger pieces, but I still get quite a kick out of buying all those little guys.
Yeah,
I just bought one 2 days ago.
And artists, they're such humble people. That's the one thing I've learned as I've gotten to meet more artists. They are not boisterous whatsoever. They appreciate when you like something of theirs. They are very, very honored.
Yes, for sure.
Artists are really good people.
So if you've never bought a piece in your life and you think, well, what do I know? I don't even know what I like. Start out, look for, we've got a lot of, it's spring now, so we've got a lot of arts festivals going on right now here in Atlanta, and wander through those. And even, it doesn't have to be a big, scary gallery if you think that, or like Joanne said, Instagram, we find the most amazing artists on Instagram, and
just get on
the list is long.
Get on their mailing list, and when they have a show or they have a sale going on, we just
walk into so many homes, and there either is a complete lack of art in the home, or it's what they have is just so cheap and meaningless.
Yeah.
And
they're just filling walls.
And you can combine, of course, original with prints and so forth, but it makes a room. Gosh, it makes a room.
Absolutely.
Yep. So definitely a great episode 33.
Okay. A fave too, and people ask us, like we said, all the time. So it's episode 59, The 6 Secrets to a Successful Business Partnership. And I love this one. We get asked about this all the time. And I think being in business for 17 years and having this successful business partnership is not very common.
Right. Yeah. People always ask us, well, how did you find each other? And do you fight? And how do you split the money? Or how do you make the business work? And it's just a curious subject, I guess.
Yeah.
But so in that episode, we just talk a lot about how we work together, how we're structured, lots of things like that. But I think probably the biggest thing is we have a deep mutual respect for one another. So if one has a strong opinion, the other one
backs off.
If one is having a bad day, the other will pick up. And it works that way because our work ethic is the same. And
if I had to work with the slacker, I'd be really pissed off.
it would never happen.
Like, it's almost like, I need to hurry
Step up my game.
I need to do this because she, and we just inherently know when one person needs something and the other one needs something, and we just, I don't know, we are flexible with each other. We complement each other. There's certain things that Kelly's really good at that I'm not, vice versa. We have strengths and weaknesses that we know about each other. And
I forgot to tell you this, but when we were at that long client meeting yesterday, you had walked away and the manager said, "Are you guys sisters or are you related in some way?" And I said, "No, we've just been
around each other.
We've just been connected at the hip for 17 years, so we probably have the same mannerisms." And
we know what the other one is thinking.
We both got in the car yesterday with jean jackets on, and that happens all the time. It's very embarrassing.
But from a business standpoint, structuring things from the very beginning, and that was, having a business lawyer, creating a contract for
our buy
and sell, having an accountant, we have life insurance on each other. Like, there's a lot of that comes into play, which is all very important. But I think, the personalities have to be right, and you have to respect each other.
And we can laugh when we probably laugh the most when things are going crazy. Because sometimes if you don't laugh, you will just lose your mind.
We've really had a crazy week, and it's funny because we had to go make selections for cabinetry, so we were near ADAC, and then our really good friend Mally Skock was going to be there speaking, but so we had to rush over to there, and it was so exciting because we were so tired, but we walked through this one door, which we had never gone, and we were right at the showroom. And then we looked the other way, and the cafe that we really love is like within steps. And I just looked at Kelly and I said, "I love our life. I love our life right now."
Because we're usually lost and confused and tired. And it worked out.
Yeah. So it's just nice to have someone to bounce things off of and just not do things by yourself. I know that a lot of people say they feel kind of lonely. I could do this myself. I know you could do this yourself. I just wouldn't want to. I just really wouldn't want to.
Agreed. And people do ask us, how do you deal with the money? And we've been 50-50 for all we've been 50-50 since the very beginning. So it's really simple. Yeah. And we just divide it down the line. And so
we've really never.
Thankfully, we kind of are agreed. You want to contribute to our IRA? Yeah. Do you want to? You want to buy a new computer? Okay. That kind of thing.
It just works out. We're just really lucky.
Yep. And last but not least, our favorite last episode 100 with our guest Marlo Thomas. It was a starstruck moment for both of us. If you're young and listening, you probably don't know who she is unless you
watch Friends.
And she's Jennifer Aniston's mom in the show, or you see her on the St. Jude commercials, or you just know her long career history as my girl. And
married to Phil Donahue.
She's married to Phil Donahue.
Who, he's probably not as famous as she is, but he was a talk show host forever.
Yes.
And they have a great story.
They do. So it was a big honor for us because it was our 100th episode, but really the big thing is her PR firm reached out to us. So that was an email that put us on the floor for sure. And she had come up with a new tabletop line for Williams-Sonoma, which if you haven't seen it, you need to go and look at it and buy a piece because it's amazing.
Well, let me just tell you this. So we had her on in February of, was that 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
Or was it last year?
Well, it
had to be last
COVID.
year probably. It was last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
2021.
So she has some beautiful tabletop stuff. You really need to just go into Williams-Sonoma and just type Marlo Thomas collection in the search. It's beautiful wood pieces with silver. And so Kelly's mom had gotten it for her birthday, but a friend of mine, a couple that listen to our podcast all the time, wanted to bring it to me as a hostess gift. We were having them over for dinner, and she said it's on back order, but in the card, it's going to be coming. Well, it was on back order and back order and back order. And by like November, I think, she said, "Listen, I this thing isn't coming. Here's $100, Williams-Sonoma." And I hung on to it. And every time I would look, and it would be months out, and I thought, this thing's never coming. So I ordered it like 10 days ago, and it came in the mail a couple days ago. Finally, It's the tray
so
with cheese
beautiful.
and crackers.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Really beautiful.
So beautiful. But what I loved about our conversation with her was she talked a lot about how she learned to be a hostess and her love of tabletop and how she designs her menu first and then she thinks about the serving pieces that she has that will make the food look even more beautiful and more tasteful and etc. So she really got me kind of on a wild. I wanted to make my tabletops better and better from now on because of her.
Yeah, and she does
the collected way she does it.
Yeah, she said the prettiest table is when everything doesn't match. And so she said, and I never thought about it this way either, when people visit your home, they get to see you, your imagination, creativity, the stories, and the history of display on tabletop. She's traveled a lot of places. We all have pieces that we've bought somewhere in Europe or whatever, and you've got the stories. And it's just a way of honoring your guests and making it beautiful and making like it a special occasion, especially now that we're kind of getting back together again.
Tabletop design is intimidating to me, like original art is for some people. It's a skill I'm working on, and I'm collecting pieces. As I go to antique stores and flea markets, and I'm finding some cool, really pretty crystal and tablecloths and things that I've never done before. But she really kind of stirred that in me, and
then layering, the dish with the other dish on top, and then what you do with flowers and what you do in the center. It's all just really pretty.
But we talked also about her marriage to Phil Donahue. She's got a great podcast with him called Double Date, where they talk about marriage with other famous couples. And she said that a good marriage is one where the people don't run for the exit sign. They make it work. Yeah. And I thought, just coming from her, and she's older and she's had this successful marriage, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, and she's had some good people in there. Ray Romano, who totally cracks me up.
Yeah,
him and his wife were on there. It was a good episode.
Yeah. So just a rundown: episode 100 with Marlo Thomas, and then if you want to go back and look up episode 78, photography tips and tricks with Linda Holt, episode 85, business advice with Luann Nigara. And episode 1, of course, who are we and why are we podcasting? And episode 33, why buy original art? And then we had one more, episode 59, the 6 secrets to a successful business partnership. I really could have made this list a lot longer.
Yeah.
But those are just some that you guys might want to go and grab and listen to. They're all entertaining lessons to be learned. All right. Quotes to end us for today.
Sure. I know you want to be in bed right this very minute.
Yes. I am not usually hungover during the week and not this exhausted. So this funny quote appeals to me today. I found this on Instagram, and every time I read it, I laugh. I love being in bed. I don't understand how people don't go into bed and immediately feel happier. Sometimes I get into bed and that's my activity, just being in bed, because that's how happy it makes me. I just lay there and think about how I'm in my bed and I'm happy about it. That's me every night. I get in bed and I'm like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me today.
Seriously, when I'm making my bed in the morning, I'm thinking
You're sad it's over?
Thinking about, I cannot wait to get back in here tonight. it's really bad.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yes. All right, serious quote. When it feels complicated, descend into the miraculous creative wisdom that lies beneath the chaos in the quiet dark, knowing of your center. That's Sherry Bliss Tilsey. I really don't
That's
get
hard
that.
to do. You don't
really
get that?
No.
When it feels complicated, descend into the miraculous creative wisdom that lies beneath the chaos in the quiet dark, knowing of your center.
This is too deep for me. It's too deep for me. I don't get it.
Okay, basically, it's the definition of meditation. Okay? When life is complicated and chaotic, just take a breath
and get into your bed. Go into your bed. That's it.
Get into your zen and just be calm with yourself. It's something that's hard to do.
This is going to sound so bad. My life's not that complicated that I have to take myself to that place. I'm very happy. I'm sure there'll come a day.
Oh, right. After yesterday's 6-hour client appointment, you didn't have to go into a quiet, dark place. I did.
I just went and got some pad thai. I was very happy.
Oh, God, you guys.
We're punchy
All right.
today.
Yeah, we are. All right. Well, thanks for listening. And thank you, Wexel Art, for being an amazing partner with us and a sponsor. And we hope that you will share our crazy podcast, listen, rate us, and review us. And we appreciate it.
Yes. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Kandrak-Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at kandrak-cole.com for more information.